Welcome back everybody to another deck profile video here with Chris from TCG The Saiyan Elites, and I wanted to bring you guys a updated deck profile for one of my favorite leaders. I'm sure a lot of people's favorite leader is going to be Hatchhyack. Now this deck listing is obviously before set 10, but I will talk about a few of the cards that I would add from set 10, but I think the deck as it is right now actually works pretty well going to work pretty well into the new format. Just being able to, this card technically shuts down a lot of aggro stuff, since most decks can only swing with one card, one battle card. Now with unisons, I know a lot of people were kind of trashing Hatchjack because having a unison makes Hatchjack not playable because they can swing with them in unison, but it's not as bad as you really think it is. And this deck actually does get better in set 10, and I'll kind of go over the card that I think helps out a lot. But make sure you guys like and subscribe. I will leave a deck listing down below for this particular deck and any other updated decks we do for any other decks on this channel. Make sure you like and subscribe and hit the bell for all the notifications so you know when we are posting new content. So with Hatchjack here, you can only play black battle cards in this deck, and this side of this leader cannot attack, which is fine because after turn 3 we're able to activate, and then we can start drawing more and more cards. So this card's auto. When a battle card attacks, the player who attacked cannot attack with tokens or battle cards with energy cost 7 or less, other than the card they attacked with for the duration of the turn. So as soon as they attack with something that's under 7, or basically that's 7 or less, they cannot attack with any more of those, any different cards under 7, or under 8 I should say. Now if you swing with a 3-drop and you have like a 10-drop on board, you can still swing with it. Doesn't affect unisons and does not affect leaders. So the active main on this card, once per turn, you place the top card of your deck underneath the leader, place the top card in the drop area, and then you draw one. And then when you have 3 cards underneath this, you are able to awaken. Now another funny thing is, I know people were trying to play like Hatchjack, Sensu Bean, and do all this kind of stuff, but the awaken, you have to all your energy has to be black. I don't think a lot of people kind of realize that, but just a small little thing. But you draw one and you flip, and then on this side here, same sort of effect, but now when you attack you gain 5k and you draw one. It's a very simple leader. And this leader doesn't really need to do a lot. The permanent, the auto basically does everything for you, and it makes it so that you're able to disrupt a lot of people. Now there are things that can kind of get around this, but it's just a really good leader. And the new deck I have for this I think works out pretty well. So we'll start with the 1-drops, which we do run quite a bit of 1-drops in this deck. So we run the Supreme Kai of Time, Time Regulator. This is a 1-drop blocker that allows us to draw a card. This has 0 combo power, which kind of sucks, but it is a blocker. So you're not really going to be using it to combo. You're going to be using it to block on the board. In your hand, obviously, it's dead for combo power. That's okay. We're going to we want to see this card turn 1, so we can draw a card and put up a blocker. Second one is going to be I think it's called Eerie. Intellectual Supremacy. So this is the Supreme Kai from Universe 3 from Draftbox-5, and it's just simply a play 1, draw 1, and it's a 5k combo power, so it has a little bit of different use than the Supreme Kai. Same sort of idea, just not a blocker. Next 1-drop is going to be Son Goku making an entrance. Of course, what is a Hatchjack deck without negates? So we run 4 of those. And 4 Kikus, because we play the 4-star balls, and we run 3 4-star balls. Now, quick note about Kid-Ku. I don't run any skillless in this deck, and the reason is because I'm waiting for set 10, where we're gonna have probably the best skillless generator in the game, and that card is the Shinran Unison. So the Shinran Unison allows us to play out skillless, 2-drop skillless, but also it gives a skillless, I'll put the card on the screen, you actually can give a skillless double strike, and you can draw one. So we can use Son Goku's ability to play out a Narirama. And then we can use Shinran's ability to give it double strike, and then we have to draw a card. So this card here, we can play it out with the Son Goku ability, and then we can +1 on our Shinran Unison, give this double strike, and then draw a card, so making this a 30k double strike. It gives Hatchhyack a very strange aggro appearance early, and you can just keep storming the board with basically when this card dies, because your opponent can have to remove it. You just pay 2, play it again, and then add 1 marker to your Shinran, give a double strike, draw a card, and then swing. So, but that's why I don't run any skills in the deck right now, because of basically of this. It's just not out yet. But like I said, when Set 10 comes out, we'll have an updated version of it. But I felt like this deck is good as of right now. So yeah, so there's all the 1-star, not the 1-star, all the 1-drops. For the Ghost Warriors, since Turles is no longer a thing, which means we can run this Turles. Now this Turles actually, I think, is way better in this meta. And the reason is, so this Turles comes out for free. You put three black battle cards between 3 and 7 back into your deck from your drop area. Plays that card out for free. When this card hits the drop area, you choose one of your opponent's battle cards in the drop area and warp it. There are so many things that play from the drop area now. There's the expensive rebrands. There's the expensive Great Ape Gokus. The whole Vegex engine plays from the drop. You can choose any battle card in there and just warp it. So you play this. Let's say you play this. You can swing at a Unison, and then get an attack and then active main, warp a card from the drop, put it back into your drop area, and then let's say you have a second one in your hand. You can just shuffle this one back in by playing this. Do the same thing. It allows you to just kind of control the drop area. And since I have 2, well, I mean I have more than 2, but I got 2 shiny ones. Felt like putting this in the deck. It also just allows me to replenish some of the cards that I may mill out from my leader ability. And we put them back into the deck and draw those again. The other Ghost Warrior is Slug. This is probably everybody's favorite. You can warp a battle card with a greater energy cost than their opponent's energy, which is awesome. So if they play a secret rare, you survive. Next turn you can play this. As long as they don't counterplay it, you can warp it. And it kind of shuts down a lot of things. You can warp Smoke Dragons, Xenocells, whatever. It doesn't matter. You can warp any battle card. I mean any card with a higher energy cost than what they have. What's nice is with something against I mean, there's so many different options you can do for it. I don't know where I was going with that. But so we run 3 of those. That's it for the Ghost Warriors. Don't run a ton of Ghost Warriors in the deck. 2 Shinran Figure of Majesty. This card will be removed once the other Unison comes out, because I will be playing less 1-drops and more skillless. But as of right now, this card works really well with the 1-drops. You play it out. You have Sparking 5, which we will. Every turn, you can draw 1, and then you can choose one of these 3 effects. So you can either restand 2 energy, you can play out a 1-drop battle card, or a 1 or 2-drop battle card from your drop area. So any of our 1-drops we can play out that allow us to draw a card. And then we can give our leader or a battle card 5k and crit for the duration of the turn, which is also nice. You can give our leader crit. But 2 of them right now, but they will be cut for the Shinran Unison. The engine of the deck that basically allows us to win the game is going to be the Ketopezla engine. I run 4 of all of these. I feel like the Ketopezla engine works really well with this leader and the Kid-Ku leader. Kid-Ku leader, obviously you're able to run blue in it, so you're able to use Sensu Bean and different things. This leader is also really good because since it's harder for them to kind of deal with this card, because they can't play out as many battle cards, and may stop them from trying to be able to kill this, but we can get it back with Power Burst. I will probably never play this card down unless I have the 4-drop in my hand. I mean, unless I have multiple, then I can kind of search out the 4-drop. But you play into the 4-drop, and the 4-drop has Barrier, Dual Attack. So basically, you'll probably swing once with it, restand it, and then sit there on a Barrier card. When an opponent's battle card attacks, it's 4 or less, you actually can tap 1 and negate it. So you actually can tap this one time, negate an attack, but it doesn't work against leaders, doesn't work against unison cards, only works against battle cards 4 or less. But it can stop some, you know, a really annoying, you know, self-awakening 1-drop from attacking you. For the 5-drop, which when you play this one out, you get the draw a card, and then you get to warp one of your opponent's battle cards. And this one has double strike and crit, but we're not really going to be using this one to attack. We're just using it as a stepping stool to get to the 6-drop. And then the 6-drop is sort of our game ender. Once you get this on board, it's really hard to remove 30k barrier, double strike, dual attack, crit. That you can actually swing with the 5-drop and then play this to restand it. But it's not really necessary. You can just go right into it and then just swing twice with this. Since you're actually attacking with the same card, it gets around the Hatchhyack effect. So yeah. And with this card, you kind of have to run all 4 of each copy just because you need to be able to see this card early. Generally, I want to see the 1-drop and the 4-drop in my hand. But if I see like the 6-drop in my hand, I'm just gonna hold on to it. Because you never know, you may never see it again, or you may mill them out and then you have to shuffle them back in with the Ghost Warrior. So if I see the 6-drop, I'll probably keep it, but generally I want to see the 1-drop. Super combos, I've experimented a lot with this particular part of the deck, but I think the Sparking Drawing Trunks is probably the best one right now. A 2-2 split with the Bibbidi super combo is not bad, but this allows us to draw, and that's something that we really want to do. Being able to draw is just a great thing for this type of deck, considering we don't really... After a while, we start losing hand advantage. And that's kind of the problem with Hatchhyack. I feel a lot of people don't play him. It's because he does lose hand advantage after a while. However, if you play him correctly, with all the cards in this deck that draw, we draw from the 5-drop Ketapezla, we draw from our 2 1-drops, we draw from the Shinran Unison that we will have, and the Shinran 4-drop. You should be able to, hold a pretty big hand size. So having this in there just for extra drawing power is great. We could, like I said, side it out for the Bibbidi super combo if we really wanted to. 4 power burst, the only negates that we run in the main deck. Petrification is a card that I really like, but with this variation of the deck, it just doesn't feel amazing to drop another card. But in the side deck, I do have space in my side deck at the moment, so I probably would side some of those in. But you can also use this to get back any of your 1-drops, so the Ketapezla, the 2 Supreme Kais that draw, and the Kid-Ku. The counterplay that we run is going to be the Deborah. We run 3 of these. It becomes a 2-drop in our hand if all of our energy is black, and we have to choose one of our opponent's battle cards, negated skills, and it cannot attack for the duration of the turn. Obviously, autos will still go through, but it does really come in handy if someone plays something like Xenocell. You can play this down, remove its attack ability. It does still rip 4 cards from your hand, but it doesn't have dual attack, doesn't have quad strike. It's basically just a giant 40k that just sits there, and then next turn you can warp it. Some more board removal. 2 demonic absorptions. This is for an Invoker or any other card that has barrier that we want to get rid of. This warps it as well. It's also a 5k combo in your hand. To the final mission. I haven't seen anybody run this card yet, so it works super well in this deck. It's a 4-drop. You get to shuffle 4 battle cards back into your deck that are between 3 and 7, which really works for this deck. And then you can choose all your opponent's battle cards 20k power or less and send them to the warp. So with something like Vigex, that's why I mainboard this. If I'm not playing against Vigex or somebody who's not playing a lot of 20ks, it's just a card that I know I can charge. But when I can play it, I can warp an entire board. And those are cards that they cannot get back. So against Vigex, works out super well. You basically can warp all their 1-drops, their 4-drops, their 3-drops, their Universe 3 stuff, everything. Just warp all of it, get rid of it. and kind of reset the board. And also you get to shuffle cards back into your deck if you haven't seen any of your Ghost Warriors yet. 2 of the promo Hatchhyack, aka the new Turles. I have a third one. I'm messing around with adding a third one to this deck. It could work. This is a 60 card deck, if you couldn't tell by how many cards, and I think it works really well because since Hatchhyack does mill, you don't really want to hit certain cards, so adding more cards to the deck sort of removes the possibility of those cards being in there. I know it's some weird math, but it does work. This deck actually feels way more consistent now. This one you can mill from your hand. Generally, I'm just going to combo it off, and then once it's in the drop area, I can pay 3, shuffle 3 cards back into my deck, and then play this card out. And then it has dual attack if I swing at a battle card. So I can swing at a battle card, remove it, restand it, swing at leader, swing at a unison, and then swing with my leader. So I get 3 swings with it. A 1 of Vegeta, Strength of Legends. It's one of my game finishers outside of obviously the Ketopezla. We can't play it with the active main, but we can play it with just playing it out for 5. It's an interesting card because you can catch your opponent slipping with it. If you play this, it's dual attack, double strike, 30k. When this card attacks, you draw 1. So essentially, we can draw 2 cards off of the swing, plus off of our leader, we're drawing 1, plus off of our Shinran Unison, we can draw 1, and then we can draw 1 off of the actual game mechanics. So we can draw a lot of cards. And this card just kind of helps with that a little bit. It makes it so they have to remove this. Another one of the game finishers is Fu. Obviously, it's the only overwhelm card we run in the deck. I don't run the 4-drop trunks to bring cards back from the drop area. If I mill something, I mill something. I have so many other tools in the deck that I don't really want to run overwhelm to remove my drop area. But if we get into a certain point and I know I can go for game, I'll pop this bad boy down. Negates all skills on any card except for the leader. For my turn and my opponent's turn. The opponent's turn part, people kind of forget. This card shuts everything off. So they'll go and try to, play out battle cards or do things and do all this stuff, but they can't because all those skills are removed. So outside of the leader, everything else is removed. They can't use super combos. They can't use blocker. They can't negate. They can't do anything. So awesome card. Probably still the best game finisher in Dragon Ball, just because it shuts everything off. And then my secret is going to be Smoke. I have transitioned from running the Demigrel Secret Rare in this deck, mainly because I don't want to run 2 forms of Overrealm. I think I'm removing too many resources by doing that, and I would rather just have the 1 Overrealm piece, but also because of the drop area effect with this, I can play it out for 5, and then I can start, warping my opponent's board, or warping cards from their hand, or warping their deck, and those type of things. That way I can kind of mess with them a little bit. So this is my new and improved Hatchjack deck. Let me know what you guys think down below. I will leave a deck listing down below so you guys can check it out. Overall, it's been doing pretty well on Untap. I'm going to end up playing it probably at one of our next tournaments, just because I really like this, and I want to make all of the VigX players mad, considering VigX is a really big thing, and I want to test this deck against it so I can figure out what I need to change just in case VigX becomes even more popular. A sideboard for this deck so far, 1 Kami for board clearing, 3 Black Mass Saiyans, another Fu, and then 2 Protector of the People. This is for matchups who have dual attacking unisons. I know it doesn't work with the unisons, but generally they're going to have a lot of other battle cards. It just kind of stops it from, just gives me an extra swing. I mean, it gives me a little extra defense, especially if they have something like Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. Just gives me an extra 5k. But yeah, so that's kind of my sideboard so far. Let me know what you guys think of this deck down below. Like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.